How do you deal and how should a procurement professional deal with monopoly suppliers where there is no choice? So, how do you deal with the monopoly suppliers?
Yeah.
Are you a perfectionist or are you more of a progress with the best you have? Points is, are you an Excel person or a PowerPoint person? And as a procurement professional, what should be the major focus in these two areas?
Have tough questions there, Faik, for me.
Hello, welcome everyone to our live event, Procurement Talk Conversation, a pro talk show which is by Chartered Buying, and I'll be your host for today. My name is Faik. I'm really excited to have with me Mr. Samer Haddad, who is a procurement expert in the region with a lot of procurement expertise, strategic sourcing, category management, supplier management into multiple domains. And we'll be happy to learn a lot in this session. Short session we have tried to create to ensure that we cover up in a short and crisp time. So over to you, Mr. Samer, if you would like to share a quick brief about yourself before we dive into the subject that we are here today for.
Thank you, Faik. I'm happy to be here. This is a great initiative that you're doing. So, my name is Samer Haddad. I'm Jordanian, born and raised. I've been living here in the United Arab Emirates for 12, 13 years now. I started my career 2006 after doing my studies in engineering, electronics engineering. And then I moved into the oil and gas industry, which is expected in this region. I fell into procurement at that time. I didn't choose it around 2008, 2009, and I fell in love with the function. I pursued it for now like 13, 14 years just into procurement. Today, I'm leading the project procurement function across Middle East and Africa for an automation Fortune 500 company based here in Dubai.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to this session with loads of experience that you hold. And I echo with one of your points that you highlighted that you fell into the procurement domain. Same is with me and with a lot of people in the procurement domain. Until our college time, we never knew that, there's a procurement domain. It used to be a back-end operations until 15, 20 years back. But now there is a huge value combined with supply chain, combined with managing the demand and supply. And it's become a centralized function with category management best practices. So looking forward, very excited with the procurement talk show and with leading experts. So diving into the main subject that we are here today is on the procurement transformation. A buzzword, a lot of people have already started, a lot of people are exploring what it is about. And there is no clarity on whether which place to start. Is it all about people? Is it about systems? Many people are connecting it to systems, considering the word transformation, or is it about process? So we would like to understand from your side, from your expertise, where to start. Definitely it's a journey. It can be a 2-year process, 3-year process, or a 5-year process, or an ongoing process. But what is important, where to start? And that is where we would like to understand from your side. Over to you, Samer.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it a buzzword. I think today, if we look at the world around us, the only constant is change. Every day we have changes. Every day we have disruptive technologies coming out. 3 months back, ChatGPT, for example, it came out, changed the whole thing, not only in procurement or supply chain, across, I think, many industries. So it was something that you could call a luxury before transformation. I think it's not now. I think it's a necessity. So companies, I think, and businesses realize that efficiency is becoming something that you should achieve today, because really soon that could affect your ability to be competitive, profitable, and even to provide proper services for your customer. Now, where to start? That's a deep question. I would basically pivot it in a different way. So in my mind, always the question is what your goal is. If you're a corporate, depending on your size, depending on the nature of your customer, depending on the products that you buy or the supply chain that you run, you need to assess that kind of business model and what goals you want to achieve out of that transformation. You want to understand what is happening with your competition and the market. What is your customer looking for? And based on that, you can set a clear target, clear goals. So, today, some companies might rush into the transformation, buy expensive systems, and just start running those. you know Transformation, as you said, it's not about the tools only. A tool is a tool. Any, like, based on that tool, you can do some things, but doesn't solve your problems necessarily. Now, the process is part of the equation, and the people is, in my eyes, the biggest part of the equation. So once you have those goals, and you align them to a value chain of your business, what you want to deliver, and then roll it back towards what you need to do in such a transformation. Fundamentally, if I want to go to the technical part of it, yes, you need to look at your process. If your process is not optimized, you cannot just wrap a system around it and expect it to work. You need to hack the process. You need to make sure it's lean, it's right to deliver the results that you're looking for. It's agile, it's flexible. You can maneuver it based on changes in the market. And then once you have that clear idea and strategy around your process, then you have to start looking at what technology and what system can enable what I'm trying to achieve through that process. But having those two elements is not enough. One of the most important things we talk about today is change management. People are a big part of that equation. There's lots of anxiety, I think, out there, replacing people. I'm one of the people that keep saying, yes, if you're today in procurement, supply chain, you need to start driving new skills into your skill sets, into your tool set. And on top of those, of course, technical in terms of IT, technology, knowledge and know-how. But another part is moving more towards the strategic thinking, problem solving, and creativity. I think at some point in the future, and from what I'm seeing in the trend of things developing with AI tools, and it's not far away where really those will be the core skills that you will be looking for when you look for procurement people. You need people who know how to deal with suppliers, who have emotional intelligence to build that relation, because that relation will bring more innovation into your world, and how they can, solve problems, utilize the amazing tools that we'll have on our hands to deliver great results. So this is, in my mind, and a short way to put it, how I encompass the transformation that companies should be looking for.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is quite informative. One of the points that, as part of procurement consulting through chartered buying, what we have experienced is when people hear about procurement transformation, they just want to go for it. What we usually recommend is, at least there should be a maturity assessment to check where the organization stands at this point of time. So that is something which is important to understand. Where are the processes? What maturity level is the technology? Is the technology today, we have iPhones, Samsung, are we using these to the full capacity? Similarly, is within the organizations, are we using those tools to the full capacity? So people, process, systems are to be considered, but where to start from is something which is extremely important. So well raised points. How do you consider category management, which has picked up strongly and which has even taken over the product management side? The supply chain domain is all falling part of the category management. So how matured it is in this region? What is the future prospect for category management expertise that is being looked at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things. Again, it depends a lot on the business you're looking at. How big your spend is, how wide your spend is. So if you're a business that buys a lot of things and you have distributed offices or buying entities across the globe, definitely it's something to look at. And based on what you deliver in terms of products and services to your customers, it's a big powerhouse in a procurement organization, because it can easily drive you that you lose lots of benefit if you're not having those categories defined. And it's not just basically putting things together and negotiating them and creating the agreements. It's that relationship that you do on a regional or a global level with certain suppliers. I think the power of category management will be beyond financial. So, for example, we've seen what happened in the shortages of the ICs or the electronic components. Companies who had a solid category management and had deep relationships with their alliance partners or category partners, where they have deep knowledge of even their supply chains, were able to navigate that much better than others. So it is necessary to build that if it's a need, if the need is there. And I think in the future, the role will be a little bit different. So it will be beyond just disruptions and price and cost and being able to compete. It will be, again, working with those partners across that big spend to create innovation. So it's not just okay, how we just manage that supply chain to get things in the right time or faster and the right price. It will be how can we work together to innovate and come to the market with new products or better services. So in the region here, I think it's good. I think it's progressing well. I see it, of course, better in some companies than others, but I think it needs to be matured more. It needs to be broader. So people today, maybe when you tell them category management, they think blanket agreement. They think, okay, I have one category I'm buying, I look for 2 suppliers and I create that category. I think it's much deeper than that. It's much wider than that. So it's a very strategic aspect of project procurement or procurement and supply chain in general that companies have to focus on. And it needs focus as well as sub-organization. So if you have procurement supply chain people doing that for their day job, and you're expecting them to manage those categories, I don't think it give it its right focus. You need people looking only at that so they can work across different functions in your organization to get the best value for you and your customers eventually.
Absolutely. And what I see with category management, it has empowered us so much to engage with different audience, with different stakeholders in the organization, partnering with, let's say, finance, partnering with product teams, the sales teams, the supply chain planners, operations. So it has given us, rather than just buying or procurement, category management has given a lot of leverage. And this is what I also usually recommend to procurement professionals, to utilize the power of category management. So moving on next to the rapid fire, in the interest of time, we have another 2 to 3 minutes. If you can help us with a quick answer followed by a quick brief that you would like to share why on that. So one of the points is, are you an Excel person or a PowerPoint person? And as a procurement professional, what should be the major focus in these 2 areas?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So procurement people, I'm one of them, so I'm an Excel person, probably more. But I think going forward, we need to be more of a PowerPoint person. And in the sense of, we need to show our customers, our stakeholders, the value that we deliver. We deliver lots of value. Sometimes we don't sell it well within the organization and beyond that. So I think we need to become more of PowerPoint kind of people in the future as procurement community.
I 100% echo that. I keep on looking at salespeople. They close one deal and there is party celebrations happening. But in procurement, they make so much savings, but there are no parties. Nobody talks about it. So presenting it, preparing a category strategy, having a win-win outcome and reflecting it is something that will definitely make a lot of difference. So are you a perfectionist or are you more of a progress with the best you have?
You have tough questions there, Faik, for me. I think depending on the situation, if I'm dealing at work with something that I know is high risk for the company, for the business, I will be a perfectionist. I will look at the smallest detail, but for the 80% of ongoing things that maybe speed and other aspects are more important, then in those cases, I will go with what I have. So it depends on the situation.
Okay, that was very diplomatic. And the last question, which I have experienced a lot of challenges and progressed over a period of time. How do you deal and how should a procurement professional deal with monopoly suppliers where there is no choice? So how do you deal with the monopoly suppliers? What message do you pass on to them? And where is the winning combination for the monopoly supplier and for the company that we are working with?
Yeah. So first of all, they know that they control the market. A smart procurement person will realize that, acknowledge that, and the core skill in these cases is your ability to negotiate, your ability to build rapport with these companies. I've faced those cases, and in most cases, I will not generalize, but they are not monsters. Yes, they
Mm.
have that power. They wanna sometimes leverage to their benefit, but they're humans. At the end of the day, they're humans on the other side. So if you build a relationship with them, benefit is not always just pure commercial. Um, if you build that kind of rapport, if you build a relationship over time, you will start getting a benefit of that relation. It's not easy. It's not. It's never going to be easy. But at least you can start working with them. Now, on the flip side, if you are a supplier with some kind of market control, I would say play it smart. Don't use it in a negative way where you create resentment in the market. At the end of the day, we all operate in this market. We want to deliver to some kind of end customer, either as a user or as a business. And you need to understand the value that you support towards your services or products as a supplier. So if you overdo it where it's harmful for the people operating in the market, especially if that harm goes and affects the customer, eventually any supplier doing that will lose in my mind. And matured suppliers, even if they have that monopoly, will always try to navigate around that risk. They want to keep delivering value. They understand that if the tide changes, they might not be in the right spot in the future. So yeah, that's it for monopoly, which is a tough question to answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I totally echo with your message that a supplier, if you may be having a monopoly in this particular service, remember there are many other engagements as well where you might face a challenge. So let's
Yeah,
do it on a relationship basis rather than tweaking and kind of challenging on that situation. So I think we have covered well, and in the interest of time. We would like to wrap up. Thank you very much, Samer, and everybody
thank
who
you.
has joined in today, all the viewers, for taking your time out to share your feedback and share your questions around. We will definitely be coming forward with more to come with different expertise. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in today.